So I literally just recorded a video that I didn't actually record because I didn't press play. So hello and welcome to this week's edition of Wednesday Wisdom. My name is JB Hilliard, and I think I've got my brain turned on now. And these are short video segments designed to educate you and answer questions about estate planning or probate, or maybe answer questions you may have in other legal areas that are impacting your household. So, with that said, I wanted to just really continue from last week's Wednesday Wisdom as far as these headlines that keep popping up on my news feed. And literally every day I see one. And in fact, after I recorded the last video, one popped up like immediately after I closed out that window. So I kind of got tickled and I thought, yeah, I'll add this to the list. So I have just a few more to share with you. Let me pull up my document so I can read along with you. So here's one. He was not his father's biological child, but inherited everything. Now his late father's wife is enraged. And from her perspective, I could see a, a little, I could understand the frustration or the disappointment or the surprise even. But again, that's why it's important to have those challenging discussions with your family members ahead of time when you're actually documenting your wishes and your intentions ahead of time. That's kind of the whole idea of planning, estate planning, like planning this out and making sure you're including people intentionally that maybe some outsiders or maybe even the family members might not understand your mindset, and so you can try to prevent them from challenging that after the fact, after you've gone. And in some jurisdictions, and you want to double check with yours where you're living, but some jurisdictions don't allow for a spouse to um, quote unquote disinherit the surviving spouse. So you have to check the rules of your state. But for all intents and purposes, whatever I have in my will is what I have in my will, and then the executor needs to carry that out accordingly. But here's another one. My father named my late mother as a beneficiary on his $80,000 life insurance, but my stepmother says it belongs to her. And I actually just had this conversation or had this discussion in a presentation I did a couple weeks ago where you really, really have to stay on top of your what we call non-probate assets, or those types of accounts that have a beneficiary, a named beneficiary on them, so they don't have to go through your estate through the probate process. So things like your bank accounts that have a payable on death or transfer on death beneficiary, or life insurance policy, like in this headlines case, where you have a named beneficiary. And you always want to also list your primary person, and then you have a contingency or people, and then you have a contingency beneficiary. So that backup in case something happens to that primary beneficiary, if they predecease the life insurance proceeds being distributed, or whatever the case is, that contingency then would get those proceeds. And so in this case, the father intended for the mother, or maybe he never went back to update it, even if he did intend for the stepmother or for the new wife to get those proceeds. But she just can't say it belongs to me because I'm married to him now. So that could become a whole big mess. But let me just share with you a few more real quickly. We're concerned about this outcome. How do we ensure our step grandchildren don't inherit our estate? That's called estate planning. He's fighting with his sister over the $250,000 inheritance he received because he doesn't want to give her any due to the relationship she has with their stepmom. That's a whole nother thing, unfortunately. And then the last one, ever since his wife passed away, her family has been trying to get him to give them the $200,000 in life insurance money she left, and she left it to him. he's better than me to even be having a discussion with her family. But these things happen. And again, there's no 100% guarantee that we can prevent them from happening. But the more planning you do, the more discussions you have, the more meetings you have, the more that you document everything while you're of a good mind, a good physical competency, then the less likely there is that opportunity for them to refute what you've intended. So, with that said, as always, I thank you for watching. I hope now that I've switched windows that my video is still running, and we'll see you next time.